Prom night, the night of glittering gowns, rented tuxedos, laughter echoing in gymnasiums, transformed into ballrooms, and promises of memories that will last a lifetime. For most, it's a celebration, a moment of fleeting youth captured in photographs and dances under twinkling lights. But what happens when the magic of prom gives way to something else, something unexplainable, something unforgettable for all the wrong reasons? Tonight, we bring you 3 horrifying prom stories, each more unsettling than the last. Stories that begin with laughter and music and end in silence. In 2011, a couple attending West Hollow High's prom received a thoughtful yet peculiar gift, an antique corsage. It was elegant, timeless, and perfect for the night, or so they thought. But this seemingly innocent token would soon turn their evening into a nightmare, leaving questions that no one has dared to answer. The corsage was a gift from a family friend, passed down through generations. It had a unique charm, with dried flowers arranged in an intricate pattern. But from the moment the couple pinned it on, strange things began to happen. The girl, Amanda, started experiencing vivid nightmares in the weeks leading up to prom. She dreamed of drowning in dark water, a heavy weight pulling her under. Her boyfriend, Luke, dismissed it as stress, until he began to hear faint screams whenever he wore his boutonniere. A friend said, "Amanda told me she felt wrong wearing it, like someone was watching her. She laughed it off, but you could see she was scared." Another said, "I was standing near Luke when he said he heard someone calling his name, but there was no one there. It freaked him out so much, he almost threw the boutonniere away. But they didn't, and on the night of the prom, their worst fears came true. Halfway through the evening, Amanda disappeared. Luke searched the venue frantically, but she was nowhere to be found. Then, someone screamed. Amanda was found unconscious, face down in the fountain, her fingers clutching the corsage so tightly that it had to be pried from her hand. She survived, but she couldn't explain what had happened. Only that she'd felt a pair of hands pushing her down. In the days that followed, the story of the corsage unraveled. It wasn't just a family heirloom. The flowers had been taken from the grave of a girl who was murdered at her own prom decades earlier. Witnesses claimed to have seen her ghost wandering prom venues over the years, always searching for the corsage that had been stolen from her casket. The corsage was linked to a series of tragic prom accidents dating back over 40 years. Broken limbs, near drownings, even deaths, all involving those who had worn it. Each time, the corsage seemed to vanish, only to reappear in the hands of another unsuspecting couple. The corsage was taken as evidence, but mysteriously disappeared from the police station weeks later. Where it is now, no one knows. Some say it's been destroyed, while others believe it's waiting for its next victim. Was it a curse or something else entirely? You decide. But if you think this is chilling, wait until you hear about the limo ride that no one came back from. In 1986, a group of friends set off for their high school prom in style. They had rented a limousine, a sleek black beauty that promised an unforgettable ride. But by the end of the night, the limo was the only thing that made it back. The friends, they were never seen again. The night started like any other prom night. Laughter, excitement, and a promise of memories to last a lifetime. But there was something strange about the limo driver. Witnesses described him as quiet, his face partially obscured by the brim of his hat, his voice deep and distant when he spoke. The first sign of trouble came when the limo didn't take the usual route. One of the passengers, a boy named Kevin, joked about the detour, saying the driver probably had a shortcut. But as the minutes passed, the laughter faded. The road stretched endlessly ahead, the scenery unchanged. A classmate proclaimed, "I remember waving at them when they left the parking lot." They were all so excited. But when the limo didn't show up at the venue, we thought they had just stopped for pictures. None of us had any idea. Another said, "It's hard to explain, but something about that limo didn't feel right. Like it wasn't just the driver, it was the car itself." The teens began to panic when they noticed something odd. The clock inside the limo was ticking backward. The radio emitted only static, punctuated by faint whispers. And the driver? He remained silent, his face eerily still in the rearview mirror. One of the girls, Amanda, claimed she saw headlights in the distance, but they never seemed to get closer. The group banged on the windows, yelling for help, but the limo pressed on, the engine humming as if nothing was wrong. At midnight, the limo came to a sudden stop. The passengers looked out, hoping for salvation, only to find themselves in front of an old, overgrown cemetery. The driver turned to face them for the first time. His face was pale, his eyes empty, and his voice cold as he uttered just 3 words: "Time to go." The next morning, the limo was found parked in the school lot, its engine off, its doors unlocked. Inside, there were no signs of the teens, only their belongings neatly arranged on the seats. The clock on the dashboard, still ticking backward. Authorities searched the area, including the cemetery, but found no trace of the teens. The limo company insisted that no vehicle had been rented under their name that night. And the driver? He was never identified. Over the years, rumors spread about a phantom limo that roams the roads on prom night, picking up passengers who never make it home. Did the friends simply disappear? Or was there something far more chilling at play? The phantom limo has become an urban legend, but for those who remember that night, it's much more than just a story. And if you ever see a limo waiting for you on prom night, make sure you know who's driving. Ridgewood High's 1994 prom night was one the students would never forget. Not because of the dresses, the music, or the crowning of the prom queen. No, this prom is remembered for something far darker. A tragedy that left the entire school shaken to its core. That night, 17-year-old Grace Weaver vanished without a trace. She was last seen dancing with her friends, laughing, and enjoying what should have been one of the happiest nights of her life. But Grace never made it home. And what followed was even more horrifying than anyone could have imagined. Grace's disappearance puzzled everyone. There were no signs of a struggle, no evidence left behind. Her parents, her friends, even her prom date all reported the same thing. One moment, she was there, and the next, she was gone. But as the days turned into weeks, strange things began happening at Ridgewood High. Teachers complained of doors locking on their own. Students whispered about cold drafts that seemed to follow them down the halls. And then there were the whispers, soft, almost inaudible, but always calling the same name: Grace. A former student said, "I was in the locker room after school, and I swear I saw her. Just a glimpse in the mirror behind me. When I turned around, no one was there. But the mirror? It was fogged up, and her name was written on it." Another said, "I used to work the night shift as a janitor. I'd hear the gym doors slam shut, but when I'd check, it'd be empty. Just streamers swaying like someone had walked through. Months passed, and the school began to move on. But then, during the following year's prom, something happened that no one could explain. Students reported seeing a girl on the dance floor, spinning slowly, her back turned to everyone. They assumed she was a late arrival, her dress vintage, her movements graceful but strange. But as the music swelled, she stopped and vanished before their eyes. The janitor claimed to have captured this footage weeks later. It shows what appears to be a girl dancing alone, her figure faint, her features blurred. When he approached to get a closer look, the figure disappeared. But the eerie part, the camera kept recording the faint sound of footsteps and distant laughter. Grace Weaver was never found. Some say her spirit is trapped at Ridgewood High, reliving her final moments, searching for answers that no one can give. Others refuse to even speak of her, fearing they might summon her back. Does Grace still wander the halls of Ridgewood High, or is it just a story meant to keep us looking over our shoulders? Whatever the truth, one thing is certain: Ridgewood High has never been the same. We've uncovered 3 haunting tales. From the tragic disappearance of Grace Weaver at Ridgewood High, to the cursed corsage that left Amanda clutching at a memory she could never explain, to the phantom limo that carried its passengers into the unknown. These stories remind us of one thing: the line between celebration and fear is thinner than we think. But what do you believe? Were these just coincidences, urban legends spun from fear and imagination? Or is there something about prom night that invites the unexplainable? Have you experienced something strange on prom night? A story you can't explain? Share it with us in the comments. We might feature it in an upcoming video. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed the chills and subscribe for more terrifying tales like these. And remember to hit the bell icon. You won't want to miss what we've got planned next, especially if you're curious about what really happens at haunted summer camps.